law focuses on protecting worker groups by regulating their collective relationships with employers. It aims to create or enhance workers' rights through agreements or decisions and may involve actions such as suspending employment contracts when legally justified. They are governed by legal norms, which are established in our labor law, and they contrast with individual labor relationships, which are direct between the employer and the worker. In modern contexts, these relations are formalized through an employment contract which outlines the rights and obligations of both parties. Collective labor law recognizes the existence of a new source of law through collective agreements, which represents a guarantee of freedom. With collective labor law, there is a concept of triangularity, or the theory of inseparable unit, which holds that the labor law merged into three institutions: unions, sindicato, bargain agreements, or collective bargain agreements, which are negociaciones colectivas, and those negociaciones colectivas uplift through a collective labor contract and the right to strike, una huelga. The absence of any of these three institutions would mean that the collective labor law would cease to exist, because they are principles that go always together. One is the mean of the other three. Companies with more than 20 employees can unionize under the government legislations. Union contracts must be renegotiated every 2 years, and in case of salaries, every year. While unions can strike during negotiations and in sympathy with other unions, strikes are commonly rare, although they are prescribed in our law. The Mexican labor law regulates most of labor-related matters and has undergone to several reforms in the last 20 years, significantly impacting labor unions. Article 360 of the labor law outlines various types of labor unions. The first one, guild unions, que son sindicatos gremiales, which are formed by workers of the same trade profession and work in different companies. For example, el sindicato, the union of pilots, which are conformed of pilots of different airlines. Company unions were formed by workers who render service in the same company. For example, Volkswagen, Mexico Volkswagen, as an independent union. Industrial unions formed by workers from the different companies within the same branch, such as the National Construction Worker Union, national industry unions formed by workers from different companies in the same industrial branch with presence in 2 or more states. And the last one is of various trade, which means that are workers in a small place with different professions. To be part of a union, several requirements must be met. But first of all, we have to have 20 active workers. The union has to be registered at the Federal Conciliation of Labor Registry Center. Each member must be at least 15 years old. Not any trusted employee, either a CEO, a manager, can by any means be part of a trade union. A collective bargain agreement involves that unions and employees are negotiating employment terms such as wages, working hours, and any other conditions and benefits. Its main objective is to enhance working conditions ensure fair wages, secure job stability. Remember that job stability is the main principle of labor law. Maybe agree on reasonable working hours and define employee and employer responsibility. The process results in a legally binding collective agreement that formalizes these terms and is renewed every 2 years, as I already said, with an annual wage adjustment for economic changes. These agreements protect workers' rights and offer stability, clarify their obligations, and provide conflict resolutions mechanism through a positive employment relationship. What is a strike? Una huelga. A strike is an organized work stoppage by employees, usually led by unions to demand better conditions or wage. It is a key tool for workers to negotiate with employers, and it's recognized as a fundamental right in any country. The right to strike is protected by our Constitution, and it's also regulated step by step in Article 123 of the labor law within the Constitution. The labor law states specific conditions, including the notice requirement that the workers have to give certain days in advance prior the strike arises, in order for the employer to start negotiating conditions. Our labor law details legal aspects of the strikes, setting as only a temporary stoppage, and classifies a permanent group and states when this strike is legal or it can be illegal. The objectives of the strike are very clear. Balance the rights of workers within the interest of the employers. Secure a collective agreement for the employer. Enforce compliance with the collective agreement. Ensure adherence to the regulations of the employee's profit sharing, and demand the salary renewed in collective agreements. The real objective of a strike is to obtain in the contract, in the collective contract, all the petitions that the employees, the workers, are asking. So every time that there's a renewal of a contract, either biannual or in annual phases, a strike or a potential strike will be around. There are several phases for a strike. First one, the preparation phase, in which workers vote to initiate the strike and prepare a list of demands which are submitted to a labor board. In this stage is where the employees might want make their demands to be included in the contract. The pre-strike phase, where the employer or authorities receives the demand and attempt to resolve the issue through negotiations. The strike phase, where the workers stop from working within 72 hours, the employer can ask the labor board to declare a strike unlawful under certain conditions. And post-strike phase, after the labor board decision either declaring the strike lawful or unlawful, both parties must adhere to the resolution. A strike can end in several ways according to our labor law. One is when the strike ends because there's an agreement between workers and employers. Another one is when the employer agrees to the workers' demand at any time during the strike and pays the wages that the workers miss out on. A strike can end if the arbitrator or arbitrator panel chosen by both sides make a decision on how to resolve the conflict. And at last, the strike can end if the workers take their case to the Conciliation and Arbitration Board, which then makes the decision to resolve the issue. In any time when the strike ends, the workers have 24 hours to return to their work.